Hello and welcome. In the entire tarot deck, there's one card that pretty much always makes people a little nervous when it shows up. And no, it's not the Death card. It's the one we're diving into today, the Tower. Yep, this is the card that stands for chaos, massive upheaval, and really sudden dramatic change. And wow, this quote just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? The Tower card doesn't really do subtlety. It's that moment where everything you thought was solid and safe just crumbles. The energy is intense, you can't avoid it, and let's be real, it can be downright scary.
But here's the real question, the one that gets to the core of this powerful card. Is it just about things falling apart, or is there something deeper going on? A really difficult, but maybe, just maybe, an absolutely essential wake-up call. That's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so to really get what this card is all about, we have to start by looking at its classic imagery, which, I'll admit, is pretty intimidating stuff.
Let's break this down, because every little detail here tells part of the story. So that tower, think of it as ambition, but an ambition that's been built on some pretty shaky or even false foundations. And the lightning bolt, that's not just some random act of destruction. It's a sudden, shocking flash of truth from the universe. And see that crown getting knocked right off the top? That's all about old systems of power, ego, and control being toppled. Every single image here points to a huge, dramatic, and ultimately necessary clearing out.
All right, so what does it actually mean when this card flips over upright in your reading? Well, it's signaling a moment of sudden, totally unavoidable, and usually pretty chaotic change.
I mean, just look at these keywords: upheaval, chaos, revelation. When the tower shows up like this, it's a sign that a massive foundational shift is happening. The very structures you've built your life on are being rocked, and the truth is coming out, whether you feel ready for it or not.
And these aren't just abstract ideas. We've all had what you could call tower moments. It's that out-of-the-blue job loss, the relationship that ends so abruptly it gives you whiplash, or that moment you realize a core belief you've had your whole life just doesn't work anymore. These events shake us to our core because they force us to see everything in a completely new light.
And here is the single most important thing to remember about this card. This destruction, it isn't random. That lightning bolt is like a heat-seeking missile for anything in your life that's built on lies, ego, or illusion. And while it is incredibly painful to watch it all come down, this process is what clears away all the unstable stuff that was actually holding you back.
So, what happens when the tower shows up reversed? Well, all that intense energy is still there, for sure, but you're experiencing it in a totally different way.
This chart really nails the difference. If the upright tower is like a bomb that just goes off, bam! The reverse tower is you trying to hold it all together, knowing deep down that it's about to blow. You're probably resisting a change you know you need to make, or you're avoiding a difficult truth. You might even manage to narrowly avert a disaster, but the real underlying problem, it's usually still there.
And this is really the key piece of advice for the reverse tower. Resisting this big transformation doesn't make it go away. It's like the universe will just turn up the volume until you listen. The change is coming one way or another, and fighting it usually just makes the eventual collapse even bigger and messier.
Okay, so let's get practical. How does this super intense energy actually show up in the big areas of our lives?
Let's walk through this. So in love, an upright tower can signal a sudden, painful breakup, but it's often ending a relationship that wasn't built on a solid foundation to begin with. If it's reversed, that's that nagging feeling, right? That deep down knowledge that you need to end things, but you keep putting off that hard conversation. Okay, now for your career. Upright, this could look like a shocking layoff or a huge project completely falling apart. Reversed, maybe you just barely survived a round of layoffs, but you're staying in a job that you know isn't fulfilling, choosing what feels safe over what could make you happy. And then with money, the upright tower might be a sudden financial hit that forces you to rethink everything. Reversed, it's that constant stress of just avoiding disaster, barely keeping your head above water, but never actually fixing the root problem that keeps you there.
I know, this all sounds pretty heavy, but here is the most hopeful, most important part of the tower's message. Every single time something collapses, it clears the way for something new and better to be built.
So what's the game plan? How do you move forward? Well, first, you have to acknowledge what you've lost. It is absolutely okay to grieve and feel totally knocked off your feet. Don't rush that part. Then, you start clearing away the rubble of those old false beliefs. You have to ask yourself, okay, what was the lesson here? What was I supposed to see? And then finally, you can begin to rebuild. But this time, you do it on a solid foundation of truth, honesty, and real strength.
It can be so hard to see it when you're standing right in the middle of the wreckage, I know. But so often, these tower moments really are a blessing in disguise. They are these profound opportunities for spiritual growth. They strip away everything that isn't authentic, so that a stronger, wiser, and more resilient you has the space to emerge.
I absolutely love this quote because it just captures the ultimate promise of the Tower card so perfectly. After all of the chaos and the smoke finally clears, you look around and you realize there's suddenly all this open space. That oppressive structure that was boxing you in is just gone, and now you have room to grow.
And that brings us to the final and most empowering question of all. The old way is gone. It fell for a reason. You are now standing on cleared ground with a brand new chance to start over. The only question left is this: what will you choose to build in its place?
Continue your tarot journey by liking, subscribing, and checking out our books. The link is in the description below. Until next time, goodbye.